Moving on to section 4, civil asset, shouldn't even, the title alone is incorrect. It should just say civil forfeiture reform. I will remove the word asset. It gives a brief background of why that is an issue at the forefront of everybody's mind. It goes through a brief history of HB1 and underscores that the governor requested this council to form a subcommittee and look at civil forfeiture statutes and recommend reform that has reached consensus with everyone. And so I'll just run through these 4 recommendations very quickly. I know that there wasn't much debate on them at the last meeting. Jackie, I know you were not at the last meeting, but I did run this by the prosecution counsel, and Sheriff Berry voted in favor of these recommendations, so I don't think that they should be a surprise.
No, I'm aware of them. I've been in touch with Chip Spanos on it, and I support it.
Okay, all right. So we'll go through these real fast. Recommendation 1, standardize the procedure used in all forfeiture cases. Georgia has 34 different forfeiture statutes. 14 of those have 14 different procedures used. 3 have no procedure at all, so I recommend standardizing that. Recommendation 2, while leaving the law enforcement purpose for the use of forfeiture funds the same, require the adoption of statewide rules related to the specific expenditure of the funds. Post council will adopt and promulgate rules for law enforcement, and PAC will adopt and promulgate rules for prosecutors. Required the standardization and improvement of states' forfeiture reporting requirements, and that is require all agencies, prosecutors' offices, and law enforcement agencies to submit a report to Department of Audits and Accounts on an annual basis. This is in addition to any local reporting requirements. An annual report would be required even if no forfeitures or expenditures were made. And finally, number 4, protect innocent owners by requiring an expedited judicial process for recovery of improperly forfeited property. Every claim by a property owner is entitled to a determination on its merits and should not be rejected and shall not be rejected on technicalities alone. To ensure fairness, state laws should require that the judicial proceeding occur within a reasonable time frame. And Judge Deal, just for you, if necessary to meet deadlines, other classes of court shall be authorized to hear forfeiture cases.
Gives in the mayor. The deal amendment.
It doesn't have to be juvenile court.
No, specifically juvenile. The oversight implementation. Oh yeah. Oh, vote on those to be included.
Yes.
All in favor? Any recommended edits or technical changes? The oversight and implementation piece, I don't think we need to go over with quite so much detail. You will see on page 30 where the tables that you have all seen and voted on will be included. We're just trying to figure out how to make 2 one-page tables smaller and take up less room. And not be a confusing, landscape-oriented document in the middle of this up and down-oriented document.
Thomas?
Yes.
This is Ellen McCann. One of the suggestions that I had floated just a little while ago to Adam was perhaps just include them as an appendix, and then you don't lose any of the text or meat of them.
That's a great idea. Thank you. We'll include that as an.
You're welcome.
We'll include that as a. Appendix. So each of you have already seen that and formally voted on that. That was voted on by the Oversight and Implementation Committee and then by the full council at the last one. And then and then you'll see there where the cleanup bill, a brief description of the cleanup bill. There are some substantive changes that need to be done to 1176 and 349, which Ledge Council updated you on at the last meeting. enabling legislations for veterans courts as another class of our accountability courts. And so that language is being drafted by Ledge Council. This will obviously go back to you guys by email since we do have some final revisions to be made with some of our recommendations, so you'll see that language. And then the last two issues are new to the full council, but have been discussed on the Oversight and Implementation Committee. The interstate compact for juvenile offenders. Georgia is the only state out there that is not a member of the new compact. It was a member of the original compact. Georgia is a member of the compact for adults. The Council of Juvenile Court Judges sent a unanimous letter to the governor asking consideration of joining that compact. So the committee looked at that and determined that it was in fact cost effective and more importantly enhanced public safety for legislation to be introduced and enacted to join that compact. And then the Title 4 section, 4E section, is really kind of a follow-up from last year's report in which the special counsel at the time, as we recalled, directed DJJ to examine the possibility and cost effectiveness of claiming more Title 4E funds for eligible youth. DJJ estimated that they could increase by $2 million a year additional federal reimbursement for some of the youth in their care, and that would require legislation spelling out contrary to the welfare findings in detention orders, which I think that we have agreement from the judges and that y'all expect that they're coming. So those are the last two recommendations that I think are appropriate here because they certainly tie in with oversight and implementation and past reform. Does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions, recommendations on those sections?
Other than that's easy to implement, we already make those findings in dependency actions, so easy.
Great. And then lastly, you'll see the acknowledgement section. I think we'd be remiss if we did not thank the massive amount of technical service providers and agency agency directors and commissioners and their reentry folks and their assistant commissioners for all of the help that they've given us in providing information, data, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll also see where we take the opportunity to thank many of the people sitting around in the chairs at the exterior of this room, the stakeholders who have tirelessly attended our meetings, as well as testified on the public testimony day down at State Offices South. And so we certainly think that they deserve recognition for their assistance with us as well. Does everybody, oh, yes, does everybody include that the last two recommendations regarding juvenile compact and Title 4E funding go in? Any opposition there? Okay. So with that, any final discussion, points of personal privilege that anybody wants to take? I think that it's safe to say that we will need one more vote on this as soon as this language is tightened up on the 2 or 3 major discussions we have. So by no means are you voting on a final report, but at least, so I don't know how we'll wordsmith this motion, but at least, tentative, I feel like there needs to be some sort of, ending, dramatic ending to this meeting. So at least as amended, if there's agreement on the language by email, do you support submitting this report to the governor, legislature, and the judiciary of the state of Georgia?
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Acclamation.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And Thomas, if I may, I just want to call out Joe Hood for his help on the interstate compact and the numbers there and what it's going to save the state. I want to to say it's been a great year working with y'all, and give a great hand to our two co-chairs. Again, another year of this fantastic.
Thank all of you in here. This isn't always the most exciting stuff, and I've seen many of you at every single meeting, so thank you. And all of you on the phone, Pew, Vera, Annie, Casey, Dennis, if you're there, thank you for all the technical services providers. Mike, thank you for documenting this as we've gone along. I think that at some point somebody may look back and watch these videos and be inspired, I guess. But thanks again, everyone. At this time, I think we stand adjourned.